Aries, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation. In this video, I review the charts for the week. Basically, I go over the major planetary aspects and transits, and I let you know how they're aspecting your natal sun, which means they're impacting your natal sun in a certain way. And I will translate that for you so you know what that means for your bottom line. This is for the week of September 7th through the 13th of 2023. I'm going to start out as broad as possible with the charts for the week, and then I'm going to focus that into Aries specific information, and then we will break everything down into the 3 decans of Aries. A decan is a group of 10 degrees, and by doing that I can see exactly how your natal sun is being impacted relative to other Aries, because it's not all the same. So let's go in, let's dig in. The big stuff. This is for, once again, September 7th through the 13th of 2023. This is a pretty peaceful week. There's not a lot of big stuff happening, though toward the end of the week, especially like the 11th through the 13th, we're going to see some more disruptive energy. But overall, this is a very peaceful week. It's a nice week to sort of catch your breath. And it's not the calm before the storm. It's actually, no. Though there is a little bit of dissonance that's coming into the mix, I have to say I think that there's more relief in general. And so this is really just a time, a week where we can get our bearings with all the retrograde energy to kind of get ourselves, acclimate ourselves to the receptive mode as opposed to the push, push, push mode. So big things this week are all aspects. There's no major transits, but we have Mercury conjunct the Sun, Mercury retrograde conjunct the Sun, at least in the beginning of the week, until Mercury moves a little too far past the Sun to be in a tight conjunction around the 10th, 11th. And interestingly enough, after it stops its conjunction with the Sun, Mercury retrograde will then come into opposition with Saturn. It's a looser opposition at the end of this week, around the 10th of this week, but you'll start to feel it. It just feels like I can't, like repression, like speaking, like I can't say what I need to say. And with Mercury retrograde, there can be like I don't know, this could reveal a lot. A lot could end up coming up about what I couldn't say, or be just sort of come to, like, I was going to say be revealed, but I think it's more the pressure of I still haven't said it yet, right? That sense of a feeling like I can't say it, feeling really restricted. And that could actually end up inspiring us to take action after that really difficult opposition has moved on. So interesting energy there. All week long, we have Venus square to Jupiter and trine to Chiron. This is joyous energy. This is gratitude energy. Venus square Jupiter is certainly indulgence and decadence energy, but Venus trine Chiron is healing, how we feel about ourselves. If we use that square to Jupiter as a way to celebrate who we are and our value, and we don't let all the past craziness of what we would have been through or how we feel about ourselves to get in the way and make us overindulge and overreact or try to overcompensate for things. There could be a lot of beautiful healing that goes on here, maybe especially healing from ways in which we have overindulged ourselves. This is all about healing our sense of personal beauty, healing maybe relationship issues that we've had, as well as getting the opportunity, especially with Venus going direct now, to heal any kind of financial issues that we've run into because of overindulgences. Now, we have Sun conjunct Mercury trine to Jupiter through the 9th. Then it's just the Sun trine to Jupiter. So in the beginning of this week, since Mercury and the Sun are conjunct, we have that trine between both of them with Jupiter. This is growth. This is expansion. Just the Sun conjunct Mercury is like, aha, oh, I get it. I understand it. It's like realization. But the fact that there's that trine to Jupiter for most of the week is, it's like we're learning, we're growing, we're getting educated, we're being taught and allowing ourselves and our brains to expand. So it's just like consciousness is growing and expanding and awakening, and that's always a good thing. On the 11th, we have the moon conjuncting Venus, and this is beautiful energy. All week long, Venus is going to be sextile to Mars. That's really sexual energy. It's really erotic as well as sensual energy. But when Venus comes into the moon comes into conjunction with Venus on the 11th, when the moon is in Leo, there is that sense of deepening and emotional connection through that sensuality. This is a very romantic day. And even though 9/11 I know is very hard, especially for those of us in the States, this is actually a beautiful energy that will be created when the moon conjuncts Venus. It's very romantic, it's very luscious, but it's also has emotional depth to it. And I really like that energy. So enjoy that day. And then by the 12th, we have the sun in opposition to Neptune. It's starting to slide into a closer opposition to Neptune. The true opposition won't happen till next week. But this is very distracting energy of maybe in some ways, how have I deceived myself up until now? Because it may act as a clarifier because of everything going on around it. I said, what is distracting you? That's what you need to prioritize. So it's like that thing, like if you keep losing yourself in daydreams or you keep getting swindled because you want to believe something is true. Well, look at that. Look at those situations, Aries, and then think to myself, for some reason, I want this to be true. Let me dig down into the reason why, and then maybe take action to actually make that happen instead of just expecting it to happen for me. So what I'm saying is this distraction could also create revelations, because whatever is distracting you is what you desire in your life, and those desires have to be fulfilled and met, and maybe you need to refocus your energy to focus on them instead of all the other stuff that you've been focusing on. Could be that your real life has been the distraction from what's really important to you, and that could be the major revelation that we come to this week. So let's get into Aries specific information, shall we? For that, I look at what's going on in Aries, and then I look at what's going on with Aries ruling dignitary Mars. And so in Aries, there's Chiron, and Chiron is moving between 19 to, it's in retrograde, so it's moving between 19 to 18 degrees Aries. Chiron in Aries is very much determined to not allow the hurt, the pain, and suffering to continue, and to change things so that it will not hurt anybody else. There's a major conscientiousness amongst especially Aries too, especially people born, say, between the 8th and the 12th of April, to kind of switch up and change a circumstance or a situation so that the pain and the suffering never happens again. Like, it's almost like being inspired by what you've been through to make sure that you don't ever settle anymore. So there's an extreme conscientiousness about that with you guys right now. Over in Mars, we have Mars in Libra. So Mars will be moving direct, optimum speed between 7 degrees Libra and 11 degrees Libra. So that puts it in direct opposition to those of you with birthdays between, let's see, the end of the, the end of the first decan, so anywhere between, say, March 29th through the 11th, so the beginning of the second decan, which is about April, maybe 2nd, so anywhere between the 28th of March and the 2nd of April, you guys especially will be in opposition to Mars right now. Sun opposite Mars is very challenging energy. Because it does tend to cause injury more often. It also causes you to be more impulsive, reactionary, and pop-offish. So it is definitely a time for you guys especially to focus down on, count to 10 before you take the action. Try to slow yourself down so you can bring some intellect into that decision-making process, because there's much more of an aptitude toward impulsivity during this difficult opposition or difficult aspect. So it's especially important for those of you with the birth dates I mentioned to focus down on that. Now, most of you who are born in the first, we'll get into, when we get into the decans, I will let you guys know about that. Mars is also sextile to Venus. So it could be, especially since Mars is in Libra, you want to take action, or you're driven to take action on rebalancing or recalibrating your relationships or your romance in some way. You know, there's this sense of, there's this opportunity for you to do it this week, and that can really be helpful. Also, there is a sesquiquadrate or a sesquare to Uranus, which I mentioned, it's not a major aspect, but I mention it because it could cause some chaos with Venus. It could cause like disruption, a sense of, I want change, I don't want to settle, I need to recalibrate and make sure things are equal between the both of us. That's not a Freudian slip, I'm sorry guys. So it's almost like this sense of, it could mix things up a bit and rattle the cages of some desires that haven't been met, and bring your attention to what you really need to focus on in relationship or in your current relationship to recalibrate that, or if you're not in a relationship, to make better decisions when it comes to getting into relationships. Just an FYI. Let's break things down into the decan, shall we, Aries? Aries 1. Now, for most of this week, so since Mars is between 7 degrees and 11 degrees of Libra, it's mostly in Aries 1. Only to the end of this week is it going to start going into Aries 2. So for most of this week, you guys are going to be, your natal suns are in opposition to Mars, and everything goes. I have to say, I'll reiterate it, this is a time to really slow yourself down and take a breath before you make any decisions, because you are more likely to get injured because of impulsivity and being reactionary in this transit. So just an FYI for you guys to be conscientious of the decisions that you're making while you make them. Understand that, and like I said, counting to 10 is a really good strategy. Especially trying things that are physical, new things that are physical right now, not a good idea. Don't try to push yourself too much in terms of your physicality, because it could result in injury. FYI. Moving on, we have Aries 2. So if you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Aries, you are Aries 2. This correlates to Aries birthdays between, say, the 2nd and the 11th of April, or the 1st and the 1st and the 11th of April. It's your natal suns, especially if you're born between, say, the 9th and the 11th, that are conjunct to Chiron. And this is about being inspired to make changes because of all the crap that you've been through. So this is a very transformative and healing energy that could also give you a hero complex, because it could make you, or you could be motivated to make sure nobody else suffers the way that you have. That's over the next couple of years though. This week, your natal suns have a trine to Venus. So there is a lot of romance in the air. There is a lot of sensuality in the air, feeling good about yourself. It could even mean that you're balancing out the checkbook and finding some financial relief as well. But your natal suns are also quincunx to the sun and quincunx to Mercury through the 9th. So this could also disrupt the balance in terms of self-confidence, or a spur in the side to take action, right? But that Mercury, that quincunx to Mercury through the 9th, I would say up through the beginning of the week, guys, don't sign any important paperwork, don't make any important commitments, don't go out for any important tests or interviews. If you can avoid it, do more back of the house work during that time, because it will just exacerbate the Mercury retrograde and make it more a thorn in your side. Your natal suns are also in a long-term semi-square to Saturn, which can make you feel like you're being ground into the dirt and worked too hard. So this could be major frustration when it comes to the boss-employee dynamic, as well as kind of being too hard on yourself is really what it comes down to, especially with that quincunx to the sun. There is that sense of allowing yourself to be too hard on yourself and questioning your own value. But there is that little bit of help from that trine to Venus right now, which could kind of ease things out in terms of the way that you feel about who you are, what you desire, your romantic relationship starting to even out, steady out, as well as, like I said, some help when it comes to finances. So that could be an uptick or good news this week. And then, I also wrote down, anybody born between the 8th and 12th of April, you're going to have Mercury retrograde quincunx to you all week long. So for those of you born toward the end of the second decan and the beginning of the third, you're going to have Mercury retrograde really agitating you all week long. So just an FYI, if you expect it, maybe it'll lessen it and you can deal with all the craziness through humor and just alleviating the frustration in that way. But once again, not the best time for any of you guys to send out any important communications or sign any important paperwork, etc., those kind of things. I would definitely, for you guys, put it off until next week. Then we have the third decan of Aries. So if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Aries, it is in the third decan of Aries, and you are Aries 3s. This correlates to Aries birthdays between, say, the 12th and the 22nd of April. Those estimates, those dates, by the way, are estimates, just to reiterate that. They're estimates, but at the same time, they're pretty close. Your natal suns are conjunct the North Node and opposite the South Node. So there is more of a coming into this sense of who you are and personal responsibility, sense of consciousness and what you consciously control in your life, and getting very comfortable with whatever once made you uncomfortable. You could also start to see things over the next couple of months arise in that you're starting to see that you like things that you didn't used to like your tastes are changing. Now, since the North Node is in Aries, there is also a sense of feeling more comfortable by yourself and realizing that you are more independent person and that you like your space. And that in terms of the South Node, your comfort zone really is no longer as much in partnership as it used to, or you need partnerships that allow you to be more independent in order to make those two recalibrate themselves. You also have from the 10th of September on through the end of this week, a quincunx to Mercury. So it's definitely toward the end of this week that you guys will start to experience more of Mercury retrograde symptoms, and they will be a thorn in your side and a pain in your ass. Just an FYI. If you have to get really all this week into next week, I would not sign anything important. I would definitely not turn the keys over for a mortgage or to my house or anything like that. I would say 100% wait till after this Mercury retrograde craziness clears for the next week and a half, FYI. You have a long-term sextile to Saturn, which does mean there's productivity, especially when it comes to work, or especially in conjunction with the North Node, taking personal authority over your life and being respected enough to be followed, to take lead on things. This is a maturation of sorts. This energy is like owning who you are and living your life defined by your own rules. It's not about rebellion, it's about setting healthy boundaries. And then we have a long-term square to Pluto, Aries, and that square to Pluto is long-term. It's for the next couple of years. If you're at the cusps especially, There is that sense of your life is shifting. There's a formidable energy to you right now that could cause conflict where you don't expect it, because you're more intimidating to people than you realize with that square to Pluto. If so, just once again, try to like lay back a little bit. It's not about easing up. It's about realizing your impact on people and how you come across so that you can accommodate in a way. Because a square to Pluto can be very productive energy if you use it to make you relentless and not give up on things. But if you intentionally intimidate people or intimidate, like push on people, it will break things, and it could also set you up for some bad dharma. So you don't want that in your life. Let's just try to use that energy in the most productive way possible by first realizing that you're having this impact on people and then accommodating and reading the room a little bit better. Just an FYI. I love you guys so much, and I hope that this video was helpful. If you found it helpful, remember to like it and then share it with those of you, with those friends or people that you know would like the information too. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that we grow over here on Astrology Motivation. And then I look forward to seeing you over on Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card message. Love you guys. Talk to you in the videos.